Hello everyone, my name is Niketan Dovaria. In our previous video, we had discussed phasor representation of an alternating quantity. Means how to represent alternating waveform in form of a phasor. So in this video, we are going to continue same topic. So this is phasor representation of alternating quantity part 2 video. So let's start with the phasor representation of alternating quantity. Here, let me start with how to form a sinusoidal waveform of a given equation. As an example, let's consider that here in this given equation, we have three voltages E1, E2, E3. In this three equation, if you observe this three equation, their peak value means their amplitudes are given by EM1, which is over here, for second EM2, and for third this EM3. That is the amplitude or the peak value of these three wave or voltages. First of all, consider that here, if you want to plot its waveform, let's start with the first one, and for that, we have to consider XY plot over here. On x-axis, we are going to consider its phase, means its angle in form of theta or omega t. On the vertical axis, y-axis, we are going to consider its magnitude. Indirectly, we can say that its instantaneous values. So let's start the first one. If you want to plot this equation, here we have magnitude or peak value of this first, that is EM1, and this waveform is in form of sinusoidal wave. So this is going to be waveform for this given equation, and as this is sine theta and there is no plus or minus angle after this theta, that means we know that when we consider angle is equal to 0, sine 0, at time we get the 0 value. So at 0 angle, this waveform is starting from 0, and at theta is equal to 90, if we put over here theta is equal to 90, we get the 1, that is the maximum value. So we will have value of E1, and that is going to be maximum. So let's consider that if this is 90-degree angle, so here we are getting the maximum value, and that is going to be EM1. Now if we want to plot waveform for the second equation, and that is EM2. So now we have amplitude, that is EM2, but in this sine term we have a sine theta minus phi 1. As an example, you can consider phi 1 is equal to 30. So if we consider phi 1 is equal to 30, so basically we have equation theta minus 30. So when this function will be 0, if we consider theta is equal to 30 again, we have considered theta is equal to 30, phi 1 is equal to 30. So if both are 30, so 30 minus 30 will cancel out to each other, and at that time we will get function value of this function is equal to 0. So based on this, we can say that if the value of theta is going to be phi 1, here if value of the theta is going to be same as phi 1, at that time we will have the value of this function is equal to 0. So basically my point is, when this cycle will start, means this is the starting point, means 0 point. When it will start for this given function E2, at this phi 1 which is in minus side, and we will discuss it in detail, but when it is given as a minus, so minus angle will be given on this positive x-axis direction. So basically from 0, whatever minus phi angle is given over here, we will define it in this direction on positive axis. So let's consider that this is the phi 1 over here, as it is minus, so we are going to consider on this right hand side with respect to this reference point, means on positive x-axis. If this is going to be phi 1 over here, so second waveform must be started from this point, so that is given over here. Let's consider this is the phi 1 angle with respect to 0 in this direction on positive x-axis direction. That's why positive cycle of this second waveform is starting from phi 1. Always remember that when some phase angle will be given over here, which is mentioned over here, minus phi 1. So this function is starting after phi 1 with respect to our reference point. Similarly, in this third equation, we have an angle in form of phi 2. So, we have a function that is sine theta plus phi 2. Now we have a plus phi 2 angle. Again, consider that if value of phi 2 is equal to again 30, but now it is positive 30. So, if we want to make this angle which is in this bracket 0, so value of theta should be minus 30. So if we consider theta is equal to minus 30 and this phi 2 is equal to plus 30, then well addition of these two is going to be 0, and at that time we will get the sine 0 is equal to 0. The positive cycle of this waveform or this equation is going to be start from this plus phi 2 angle, and when we define plus phi angle, so that is going to be on left hand side with respect to 0 on x-axis. So here we have a 0 of on x-axis, and here we want to define plus phi 2, so that is going to be defined in this direction. So let's consider if this is phi 2 angle over here. So third waveform will start from this phi 2 angle, but that is in the direction of negative x-axis with respect to 0. So simply remember that in this given equation, here in sine theta, after theta, if there will be no angle, means phi is equal to 0 is given over here as shown in this first equation, waveform will start from 0. If after theta there will be some minus angle as shown in the second equation, here we have minus phi 1, that is starting after 0, means here second waveform green waveform that is starting after 0, and after what angle that is mentioned over here phi 1, so phi 1 lagging over here. And if as given in this third equation, angle will be plus phi angle, and that is over here plus phi 2, so that will start before the 0 as shown in this third waveform, which is in blue colored waveform of E3. Similarly, if we want to plot the phasor diagram based on this equation or based on this waveforms, then how to plot it? First of all, to plot phasor diagram, we need two things over here. First one, magnitude, and second one, its angle. Magnitude of these parameters are over here. First one that is given by em1, second em2, and last one is em3. And angle of these quantity can be taken from this phi angle. Here after theta there is no angle, that means it is 0, phi is equal to 0, that is phase of first voltage or EMF, and phase of the second E2, that is minus phi 1, minus means lagging. Again for third that is plus phi 2, and that is plus, that means this is leading. Now here we are going to plot the vector of these three quantities. So basically here we are going to consider xy plot, and normally as we consider on x-axis we will consider the 0 angle. So angle of this first is 0 and its magnitude is em1. So based on that we are going to consider its length. So based on its length we are going to form a vector over here on 0 means positive x-axis angle. And if we consider second voltage, it is having magnitude of em2. So by considering this magnitude, we are going to define its respective length, and by considering that length, we are going to plot a vector on some particular angle which is shown over here, and that angle can be defined by this minus phi 1. And we know that on xy plot, when we define minus angle, we define minus angle in fourth quadrant. So here, this is the our reference point or 0 point. Let's consider this is xy plane over here. This is x and y over here. So fourth quadrant will be in lower side, means in clockwise direction. So if we go in clockwise direction at angle phi 1, so that will define minus phi 1. So at this minus phi 1 is in clockwise direction at phi 1 angle, with the length of E2 we are going to plot a second vector, and that will define E2, phasor of second voltage. Similarly, if we draw the third phasor of E3, it is having magnitude of EM3. So based on this magnitude, we are going to define length of that vector, and angle of that vector can be defined by this plus phi 2. Now that is plus angle, and when we had a plus angle, we plot that plus angle in anti-clockwise direction. So we are going to consider plus phi 2 angle over here in anti-clockwise direction, and based on this length or magnitude of this third voltage, we are going to plot this third vector over here. So this is the three phasors of these three voltages. Now in our next topic, here we are going to study addition and subtraction of two vector alternating quantities. Now let's start it. Addition or subtraction using waveform is much tedious job. That's why it is very easy method to use vector or phasor for addition or subtraction. That can be done by two ways. First method is graphical method, and next method is analytical method. So first of all, let's start the graphical method. In this method, the vector diagram is required to be plotted to the scale. Now, let's discuss the step-by-step procedure to add two or more alternating quantity using graphical method of the vector addition. Now, in step number 1 over here, choose one of the suitable vector as a reference vector and draw it on x-axis, means positive x-axis. Now, all other vector to be added having their own phases, means here let's consider first vector, and that is on positive x-axis, and we had named it Im1 first current over here. Now we are going to consider second vector, and that is going to be plot on the tip of the previous vector. So we are going to start the second vector from this point of the previous vector. So here we are going to plot this second vector over here. Now again in same way we are going to add another vector from the tip of our previous vector, means now it is second. We are going to plot third vector from this point which is over here. So third will be drawn over here, and every time we will consider their own angle or their own phases. If we connect this origin point to this last point, that will be define the resultant vector. So let's do it over here. So this vector which is starting from this origin to this last point, that is the resultant of basically addition of this three vector. And if we want to find out its value, so that can be find out by measuring its length. When we had plotted these three vectors, first of all we had converted its value, its magnitude into length. So basically we had a ratio or that conversion value by which we had converted magnitude into length. Same way now we had a magnitude, we have a length of this resultant vector, and based on that by conversion we can find out the magnitude of this resultant vector. Similarly, if you want to find out the phase of this resultant, means angle of this resultant, so now we can find out this with respect to this first vector. So that will define the theta r phase of this resultant vector. So this was the graphical method. Now there are different ways by which we can represent alternating quantity in form of a phasor or a vector. So here we have four methods by which we can present mathematically any vector or phasor quantity. So as an example, here we have an xy plot over here, and on this xy plot we have this red color vector over here. So basically it is starting from this origin point, and it is completing over here on this point. Now length of this vector is considered by this r, and phase of this vector is considered over here by theta. This is the x component of this vector, and this vertical component that defines the y component of this vector or this resultant point. So basically we can define this vector in mathematical form by various methods. Now let's consider first one, that is rectangular coordinate system, in which we define vector by its x and y coordinates. Here value of x component of this vector, that is given by this x value, and again vertical component is given by this y component. So if we want to define this component in this rectangular form, we can define it by x plus jy, and we had already studied before this x axis. We define that as a real axis or with real component, and when we define vertical axis, on that vertical axis we define imaginary component, and when we define mathematically to define that is an imaginary component, we use that term j over here, or you can use io also. So basically here we are defined the term x plus jy, so that is the rectangular form of this given vector. And if you need to define its x and y component based on its magnitude r and phase angle theta, based on that, if we had a suppose its magnitude r and angle theta over here, so based on this, if we consider this triangle over here, so this x component can be defined by r cos theta. Similarly, this vertical component can be defined by r sin theta. So you can also define this x and y component by r cos theta and r sin theta. So this was the rectangular form. Now next is the polar coordinate system. In polar coordinate system, we define phasor by its magnitude and angle, and that is mentioned over here. Let's say this is the current I, so that can be defined by Im theta, where Im is magnitude of that vector, which is given over here by this r, and its angle, that is theta, which is over here. So you can also write it down as a r theta. Now third, and that is trigonometric coordinate system. Here we are going to define this vector in form of cos and sin theta, or cos component, sin component, as given in this equation over here. That is I is equal to I am cos theta plus this vertical imaginary component, that is plus j I am sin theta. Basically this is again given over here. So this is kind of same thing that is given in point number 1. Now last one, and that is exponential coordinate system. Here we can define in e raised to term, means here it is defined over here. We can define this phasor I is equal to Im, and whatever is the phase angle that is mentioned over here in form of e raised to term, that is e j theta. Now here we are going to discuss second method for addition or subtraction of two vectors, and that is analytical method. And for that, let's consider here we have two vectors which is mentioned over here by this orange color. This first vector which is over here as a v1, and second vector which is over here as a v2. Now we want to add these two vectors by analytical method. Basically we are going to calculate the addition of these two mathematically. And for that, first of all, we need to find out the rectangular form of these two vectors, and that is nothing but x plus jy components. So first of all, we will find out the x and y component of these two vectors. Now in next step, what will we do? We will add the x component of these two vectors. Means first of all, we will consider x component of v1, we will consider x component of v2, we will add both components. As an example, x1 plus x2. Similar way, we will consider y component of both, y component of v1 and y component of v2. We will again add them both. As an example, let's consider vector a, that is x plus jy, and vector b, that is w plus jz. So these are the x and y component of a and b. So if we want to add this a and b, what can we do? We can add real components first of all. So here real component of first one, that is x, and the real component of the second one, that is w. So we can add x plus w. Similar way, we can add imaginary components or reactive components, that are y and z. Here addition of j, that is common, and addition is over here y plus z. So this is the addition of two vector a and b. So this was the second method. And again, let's say if we want to find out its polar form, so what can we do over here? Here we have a final x component of this resultant and final y component of this resultant. That means the real component of this resultant, and this is the imaginary component of this resultant. So what can we do over here? To find out its resultant value, we can use this equation where value or magnitude of resultant, that is equal to under root x square plus y square, means under root of this component, sorry, in under root. X square means square of this compound, and y square means square of this compound, and under root of all, that will define the resultant. Similar way, if you want to define phase angle, so that can be defined by tan inverse y by x, means tan inverse of this compound by this compound y by x. So that will define the phase angle of this resultant value. Now, lastly, if we have given particular form of phasor, as an example, we are given rectangular form and if we want to convert in polar form, or suppose we are given polar form and we want to convert into rectangular form. So how to convert in each other? For that, if we want to convert from polar to rectangular, that means if polar form is given, that means r and theta is given, and we want to find out x and y compound. Here we have one vector over here where r and theta is given, and now we want to find out x and y compound. So how to find out? If you want to find out the theta from r, sorry, if you want to find out the x from r and theta, so that is going to be x is equal to r cos theta and y is going to be r sin theta. Similar way, let's suppose if x and y component is given, this x and y, these values are given, and now we need to find out r and theta. So how to find out r and theta using this x and y value? So again, observe this triangle which is over here. If x and y is given, and you need to find out this r compound. So this is the 90-degree angle over here. So value of this r is going to be under root x square plus y square. Here we are considered r square. So that's why under root is not considered over here. So r square is equal to x square plus y square based on Pythagoras theorem. Now again, if we need to find out this angle theta, so here we can apply tan theta. So that is going to be y by x. Tan theta is equal to y by x. So if we need to find out the theta, you can find out the tan inverse of this value, and that will provide the value of theta. Why we are doing this conversion over here? Because when we will do any kind of addition or subtraction, we will always need a rectangular form. So suppose in question you will have given a polar form. So first of all, you have to derive the rectangular form, and when we will multiply or divide any two or vectors, then that is easy to do multiplication or division in form of a polar. In that case, if rectangular form will be given, then you will have to convert it into polar form. That's why this conversion is very important. So these were the basic things about phasor representation and as well as the phasor calculation. So thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned and we'll meet in next lecture.